website. And then 2 months later, I was like, okay, well, I'll close out our old website. And when we did, it canceled every member we had.
Oh.
So that was a really scary day.
It ends smooth.
Yeah, it does.
And welcome back to the Rally Back Project. Crystal and John.
Hey.
What's up?
Oh, this.
Yes.
We literally just picked them up. I can't.
There we
go.
You gotta move the mic.
And they might not be able to see it, but it says the Riley Black Project up here, like as a knockout at the top.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
They look pretty good. They look pretty solid.
We'll do another pre-order soon for those who are going to have FOMO for how cool they are.
Yep. And, well, when this airs, you won't be at APA, so.
Yeah.
So
but that's where we're heading.
Yeah. You would have, if you went, you would have seen them in person because they would have been on display.
Right.
Hopefully, I think. That's the plan right now. APA
we'll see how this all comes together.
NPA is at NPA. APA is like days away for us.
Yes.
Got to pack all this up after this episode.
Yeah.
And get ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
But before then, this episode is brought to you by
Katie with Monarch Pine. These cameras are in different places.
Yes, they are.
You threw me off. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's giving our listeners 10% off. So if you're looking for findings or jewelry blanks, check her out. You get a bigger discount if you are one of our patrons. But if you want to check out what she's got, monarchpine.etsy.com.
Yeah, and if you're looking for jewelry blanks, she can hook you up too. If you don't like those branks, the blanks will
Is that what
fine.
I said?
Yeah, jewelry branks.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All of those. She has it all.
She has it all. Everything.
Yeah.
And I moved the cameras to make your shot look better.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Does it get rid of my double chin?
No.
Oh,
I can't. I mean, it's not plastic surgery. I'm just moving the camera over.
Shucks.
Yeah. It doesn't do all that.
It's worth asking,
It is worth asking. All right. Well, today's guest.
Yes.
It's was a dog groomer, used her tip money to save up for her machine.
Yes.
What machine it is, I'll let you guess what her first crafting machine was. I bet you'll get it. You get 50-50.
Yeah, that's true.
50-50.
It's one or the other.
It's one or the other usually. Usually. You might got it. You might still get it wrong.
She chose right, though,
right.
if
And
that's
then,
another hint.
as the universe would have it,
Mm-hmm.
once she had her money saved up,
Yeah.
blew a tire. And then has to make the decision.
Right.
Do I still make the purchase or do
Yes.
I buy the tire?
No.
So you'll find out her answer now. Welcome to the show, Gwynn with Create It With Gwynn, right?
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Okay. I wasn't sure if Gwynn came at as I was saying, I'm like, oh, wait, is it Create With Gwynn?
Yeah.
Gwynn
Depends on
creates?
the day.
I was like, oh, no. Because I always mess up.
No matter what, Gwen is
the answer.
creating.
Yes.
So.
Create
Somewhere
It
there's
With
some
Gwynn.
creativity going on.
Right?
How you doing?
Hey, guys. Pretty good. I can't complain. It's not freezing here, so that's wonderful.
We went outside today. We've been listen, in Florida, we normally, if we're lucky, we get like a week of cooler weather and then it goes right back to being hot because it's just summer and summer light is the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been cold since December here. So we went outside today and we got in the car and I was hot for the first time.
I got to wear shorts.
Months.
It's kind of wonderful. It's not quite warm enough to do shorts yet, but we're getting it.
You thawing out. Yeah.
And then by
where are you
summertime, I'm going to
located?
be crying. We're in Yuma, Arizona. So as far west and as far south as you can get in the state without being in California or Mexico. And it's hot.
Yeah. So it's been cold. I mean, it's been cold pretty much everywhere. So you guys have been freezing out there too?
We did actually get below freezing, and that almost never happens. Of course, we didn't see snow like Florida did. But
right. Yeah, we didn't get that,
North
thankfully.
Florida.
But yeah.
It stayed up north.
Yeah, it didn't. Well, I mean, there was that one night, though, where I'm pretty sure it was sleet. But, you called me outside because it was like... It was like pellets almost.
Yeah, so it wasn't...
tiny ones.
It was like... It wasn't falling.
It wasn't rain.
Right, because it wasn't falling as fast as rain.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, wait, there's a little
it was just too much driftiness, so it wasn't rain.
A
but
little bit.
And it was very subtle.
It had me checking
a
our patio furniture to see. I'm like, this can't be right.
Right.
And it wasn't because it was still wet, but it was cold. I'm like, huh.
Yeah, I think it was sleet.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was definitely cold. You could see your breath. Yeah, so we can...
Too cold for my bones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Too cold for my little desert bones.
I left Colorado.
Oh,
We
that's
did.
too cold
So,
for me too.
Yeah, I'm Colorado native, so I don't miss the snow though and the cold at all. So again, I welcome the 60s. That's nice. That's perfect weather in
Right.
Colorado is the 60s, but it not for a month. And it's also gotten
Anything
colder
below
than
that, I'm
that
out.
too. Yeah, 2
Yeah.
months actually.
Yeah.
So, the machine that you bought
Yes.
was she chose right and she chose a Silhouette.
Cameo.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I have a Cameo too. I was not cool enough for the Cameo one. It had come later in time. I'd spent forever, and I was like, I want this dang thing. And my husband and I were not married yet. And so he still doesn't really tell me what to do because he knows I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
But at the time, he's just like, what do you need this $150 craft machine for? I was like, don't worry. I know what I'm going to do. Just, it's fine. I got it. I have a
Right.
plan. He's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so I saved up my dog grooming tip money forever. And I was like, all right, today's the day. Today's the day. I'm going to have it. I can go ahead and buy it. And I think it was close to Black Friday when they got sales going on. So I was like, $150. I can do this. And on my way to work, my tire blew on my little icky beater pickup truck. And I was like, oh.
Was it a
So
Ford
is it possible to
Ranger?
go ahead and replace the tire? Because I had the money at that point. Or do I just buy the machine? I really want I've saved. I worked hard for this. I want the machine. And it was one of those things where for a minute you think about it, you're like, is this why I saved the money? Is it because my tire was going to blow?
Right.
But I went in, I took my lunch break, and I looked on my phone, and I hit the buy now button on Amazon, and I left my lunchroom and said, oh, I got to go back to work. Oops. Oh, well.
Right.
Figured it out.
Nice.
Purchase made.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oops, sorry, I already bought it.
It's crazy too, though. Like I bought it as just, to do onesies, funny onesies for our son that I was pregnant with, and had no plan for a business. Like I had a craft room already. So like I just liked making stuff. That's true. Listen, the craft room was a little creepy. So it just held all my stuff. And then when I wanted to make stuff, I'd just take it out of the room and then eventually put it back. So
sometimes.
And I mean, if we wouldn't have made those purchases, like we wouldn't have,
it set like a whole thing in action.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you think about it too, because we both had like similar like first launches with our courses, and we'll get to that like later in your story, but like if you would have told me any of what we're doing now was basically because of starting with that little machine, I'd be like, yeah, okay, you're crazy.
Right.
So
that was kind of the ongoing story was, my husband was like, what do you need that $150 machine for? Well, just trust me. I know what I'm going to do. And then when it came, I wanted this laser thing. And so I've been reading about it, looking at it. I was like, that's, $2,500. What's it going to say here? And then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do it. Well, what does that machine do? What is that thing going to do that your $150 one doesn't do? And I was like, just
everything.
Trust me.
Right.
And then wait until I decide I want a bigger laser. And then we'll really talk about numbers.
2,500. What was that laser?
So I went on to a Glowforge basic and then a Thunder Nova 35. And then I decided the 35 wasn't big enough. So we got a 51 and then another 51. And now I'm good. I think I'm good.
Damn. So how many lasers do you have now?
Well, I still technically have my Glowforge basic. It has not been plugged in since like 2021, but you just can't get rid of it. That was my thing. I still have my Cameo 2 in the closet too, and it hasn't been used in forever.
Nice.
I can't let them go. But we're up to 2 Thunder Nova 51s, and then I do have an F1 from X Tool as well.
Nice.
And then the Glowforge that doesn't ever see the light of day.
Right.
It exists.
Yeah.
You should put it on a shelf.
I do. I need to find a shelf for it and put my Cameo next to it.
Yes, totally. Yeah. It's just this
Humble
is where we started. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were doing dog grooming before. How long had you done that?
I was a professional dog groomer for 6 years, somewhere right in between there. And then when I had my son, I went on maternity leave and I didn't have the best manager for our store. And he just had rubbed me the wrong way. And I was like, I really never want to go back there. And you added, hormones at the end of pregnancy don't help with that.
Doesn't help, right?
Yeah. But I always wanted to be a maker. I had opened a storefront many years before that. I opened a storefront. I was making things and hosting workshops, and it just was not the right time for me.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. And so I had closed that shop, but I was like, I really want to make a go at it. And daycare was expensive. So I was like, well, what if I just don't go back to work so that we don't have to pay for daycare, and then instead I go all in on this maker thing and see how it goes. And there were definitely some rough times. I mean, we had our struggles like everybody has, but we came out on top eventually.
Yeah, that's all that matters usually. You don't remember as many of those like this really sucks moments when
until you get to thinking about them and you're like, hey, remember that one time it was real tough? And and then you remember and you're like, oh yeah, I'm glad we're not there anymore.
Right, it's better to be on the other side.
How old was your son when you decided to give it a go? So it was right after maternity leave.
Yeah, literally, I just didn't come back from maternity leave. I was like, I don't want to. I'm just no, I'm gonna put in my time put in my maternity leave, and then as soon as we got to the end of that, I was like, can I do this? Like, are we gonna make a go for it? My husband said, go for it. Well, worst case, you always go back to work.
Right, exactly. That's always the worst case scenario. So, like, if you have that plan and you're okay with that plan, like, why not give it a shot?
Right.
And then the added benefit, even if you go back to the worst case scenario, typically, is you got extra time with your kids.
With the baby.
Yeah. So he was, our son was a year when I ended up, because we were moving. That was when we moved from Colorado to Florida. And so I had gotten to the point, not like similar to you in the maternity leave, I had gotten to the point where I didn't enjoy my job anymore. And so I was like, why am I spending 9, 10 plus hours a day, this place that I cannot stand? I'm literally having to like chant my salary to myself and, not walk out of here. I'm like, let's give it a shot and see how it can go. Cause I was making a bunch of t-shirts and stuff and that was going well. But I needed something different and I'm like, why not try it? If I go get a job, and then if I go get a job, I'm still going to be more choosy in where I work. I'm going to work somewhere that it's fun or, I'm fine with a little less pay as long as I don't hate being there.
Right.
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So, what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser ready blanks.
The Riley Black Project is sponsored by Cuddle.xyz.
Cuddle lets you instantly generate personalized SVGs. Just type in the name, choose your options, and click download SVG. It's that simple.
I make tons of keychains and small items that require welding, node editing, connecting dots on the eyes, and the most tedious step, adding score lines. But with Cuddle, you just type the names and you're done.
Just go to the website, cuddle.xyz.
And use our coupon code RileyBlack for 10% off your first month or year.
I loved grooming. I had fun at the job itself. Unfortunately, like a lot of jobs, it was a management situation where I was like, this is icky and I don't like this.
Ruin it.
It can. Yeah. And it was a bummer too. I had to tell a lot of, because, just like, you have a hairstylist that you go to regularly. People have their preferred dog groomer. And
of course, right.
These people were like, oh, you're having the baby. How exciting. When will you be back? And I'm getting messages on Facebook. Hey, when are you coming back? About that. Are you going to groom on the side? And I was like, I don't think so. No. And it wasn't that I didn't like it. It's just,
That's what I was going to ask. What made you go the maker? Well, you said you had a maker from before, but I was wondering, since you have so much grooming experience, why not start like a mobile grooming?
I could have. I knew that the goal, like I started making jewelry as a senior in high school. That's when I really started being, a small business. And so I knew that was what I wanted to do. And then I picked up sign making as like a random, I picked up paper stencils from Walmart, or not paper, the ones that were almost like index card material. Yeah. I picked some of those up and painted some stuff. And I was like, ooh, this is cool. Those signs looking back now were hideous, but I was proud of them at the time. I didn't know what my abilities could be. And so I'd always been crafty. My mom was crafty. She's not the painting and that sort of craft. She was the hand tools and the sewing and that sort of thing. And so I just got that from her. And I always loved that part of everything, the craft side of things. And so I knew that's what I wanted to do. It was just finding the best modality of it. I thought I liked making
Right.
jewelry, and then styles changed. I didn't like where it was going. So I was like, I don't like this anymore. So then we did do shirts for a long time, and I went all in, and I didn't want to buy the little press. I wanted the big press, and I wanted,
Right.
and so there were times where we'd press, 150 shirts for an event with my son and the baby carrier strapped on the front of us. And
Right.
so we tried a lot of different things, but there was just something about home, like decor. I really love, we teach craft classes. I'm in our DIY studio right now. And I love that connection, like getting to hang out with people and show them that they can make things. But that was always like, even when I was a dog groomer, we did that on the side or on the weekends. My husband and I were a mobile sign party. That's how we paid for our wedding. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it was always there.
How did you get then from the silhouette to then the laser? Like, how did that progression go into like where you're at now?
So we had the silhouette, and I had been, there were a couple of times where I said, I'm never doing this again. And what it was, I didn't have the right materials. I was using the, contact paper for transfer tape. And I was like, this is stupid. I hate this thing. This is dumb. I don't want to play anymore. But then I started going, okay, well, let's buy the right stuff and let's see how that works. And it made a world of difference. And then we started doing, a lot of it was mobile paint parties. We were paint a palette with Gwynn and Jonathan for a while, and we'd go do palette style signs and paint them with different people and places. And then I started seeing, the laser cut pieces, these 3D signs. I was like, how are they are not cutting these by hand. They're by my husband, scroll saw.
Yeah.
And he cut like 130 goat shapes, 4 different breeds, 2 different sizes for our fair for the kids to hang like above their skulls. Yes.
Oh my God, poor thing.
And he told me never again. And I was like, understood. I didn't have to cut it. Understood. I think I painted them and that was it. And
so was he then sold on the laser right away?
Kind of. And so that was okay, we're done. Like never again. And so we moved on. We did a couple of like nursery signs where he cut them on the scroll saw. But even that was, to make it financially make sense for what you would have to charge for the time. It just, it wasn't there. And I kept seeing all these laser things. I was like, okay, well, I can order laser cut pieces from someone else. And that's where it really started, was I was ordering them from other people who had lasers and adding them into our home decor. And I was like, I really want a laser. And my husband's like, what do you know about lasers? I was like, nothing yet, but I'll learn. I'll figure it out. I figured out the silhouette. And I'm a little on the nerdy side, so I'll figure it out. And so I started looking into the Glowforge, because of course they had, ads everywhere. I was like, I could get this. And so we did. We did. And it was one of those things where, so I started like saving. This was my deal with myself, was if I ordered laser cut pieces and say they cost $10, and then I sold the product, whether it was at a class or a finished product, I would take twice as much as whatever the laser cut pieces cost me. And that was my laser fund. Nice. And so it cost me $10 and I saved 20 when I sold the item. And started putting it away. But then we hit 2020, and it was kind of scary, because it's like, well, what do we do? At the time I was still making things, but I was also delivering Instacart. And we strap my son into the back and we'd run around and do that all day. But then when 2020 started to really get crazy, I was like, I don't want him in and out of grocery stores. I don't want to go crazy at the grocery stores. And my husband at the time was a handyman, and people didn't want strangers in their house. They didn't know where you'd been. And so it was scary that summer. I was back and forth. I was like, do I buy this thing? Do I not? And then when I really, he was like, what does it cost? I was like, $2,500. It was, I was thinking like 500, and I was like, oh, I wish. But I, finally I was like, just that's always been my thing, is just trust me. I'll figure it out. Just trust me. And so we got that, and 2 months later we had outgrown it, because we started selling we were selling kits online. People were bored and at home.
Yep.
And the other thing that started along with that is because I've always had that little bit of nerdy side to things, and I love designing for silhouette files. I was like, well, what can I do with a laser? And so immediately I started designing laser files. We created a free library where we had files in there, and I wanted feedback. Like, am I doing this right? Does this work on other lasers? Because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And we got good feedback, and I'd had it figured out. So we started in with, helping other people with their lasers. And I had, maker friends already from all over. So it was, here's how to do this. And did you guys know you could do this? And if you put this on top of this can, and so we started in with that. And so the two kind of ran side by side. I had making stuff for people, and then, physical products. And we also had, the digital and helping other people kind of running along side by side, and kept going from there.
Nice.
It sounds like he's been there from like from the beginning, because you guys did the sign shows to help pay for
Right.
your wedding.
Yes.
And I've been like, I'm supportive, and I put like the frames together. But how
Yep.
involved has he been in through the whole?
Everything. He made a
Yeah.
mistake on our second date. He told me he was good with power tools, and I was like, really? And at the time I was a jewelry maker, so I was like, I saw this jewelry stand. Could you make this? And he's like, yeah, I could build that. I was like, I want to make these earrings where, you know, you have to cut this piece and do that. Could you do that? Yeah, I could do that. I'm okay, cool. You could stick around then. And
Right. I'll
and
keep
his
you.
honeydew list has never gotten any shorter. But he when we were just, you know, when we were a sign party business that was on the road, he made the pallet signs and got stain prepped and ready for him. And then he would help weed stencils and really anything that was a part of it. But we both had other jobs outside of that for the longest time. And then it was January of 21 is when we retired him because I needed help.
Nice. That was my
Nice.
next question. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was when that happened. So in 2020, October of 2020, we launched our file club, which we can get into all that stuff too.
Yeah.
But we launched our file club, and it went over a lot better than I had anticipated. And so it was looking at the finances. That was money we'd never had before.
Right.
I said we did Instacart, and I, you know, tried to hustle as much as I could, and he did too. Obviously, it was just different kinds of jobs. He even picked up Instacart for a while, but there were times where we came close to, prior to 2020, losing our house, and it was really scary, and I never wanted to be in that position again.
Right.
So when the file club took off the way it did, I was like, okay, this is taking care of bills now, so this is good, but what's going to let us go any further than where we're at right now, beyond trying to build a club or anything? I still wanted to be a maker, so what's the next step? I need more help. Well, in order to have more help, I need you home more to do more of it. And so January of 21, we said, okay, you're done, let's do this.
Nice.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Hey there, podcast listeners. How great would it feel if this was the year you finally got to escape your 9-to-5 to embrace your lifestyle of creativity and entrepreneurship?
Every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, Eon Laser USA invites you to join the Freedom to Create webinar, where you'll learn how to make this a reality.
Join leading laser industry professional and brand ambassador Emily, aka That Mom with a Laser, and Eon Laser USA's sales manager Alicia as they dive into all things Eon.
Learn about the advantages of owning an Eon Laser and get the scoop on Eon's rewards and partner benefits. Plus, get a glimpse at how everyday people who started out with zero experience paid off their lasers, scaled their businesses, and transformed their lifestyles.
So if you're ready for a lifestyle change, head over to eonlaser.us/whyus and sign up for the Freedom to Create webinar today.
Thanks for listening. Laser on.
Are you tired of endlessly joining jump rings?
There's gotta be an easier way.
Are your wrists aching after numerous orders? Introducing Keychain Thingies, the time-saving solution for anyone making keychains.
It's so fast and easy.
These revolutionary plastic thingies make large or multiple orders a snap. So easy, even a child can do it.
That was so easy.
So what are you waiting for? Go to keychainthingies.com and order now. Keychain Thingies will change your life. However, they should not be used to cure any medical ailments, repair broken relationships, or help lose weight. Do not use Keychain Thingies unless you want to save time and aggravation.
And so then when did the studio come about? Were you doing all of this like from your house, or how did that go?
We were at home at that point. We had we had one kiddo, and it was a 3-bedroom house that had a big, it was like a carport at one point that was turned into a room. And so that was our laser room. And what was originally my son's nursery became the other laser room. We co-slept. He didn't need that room for nothing. It's fine. So we had basically 3 rooms of our house were work rooms. And it got to the point where after we gotten our Thunder, we got the 35 when we were growing again, and I wanted either another laser or a bigger one. But in order to keep up with it, we needed more space. So we'd rented a shop over. It's in a weird part of town. It's not next to really anything. There's an insurance agent in that strip. And then my thoughts were, if I'm going to be in here, I might as well have it open for people to come in anyway.
Right.
So when we moved there is when we got our first 51. And then we added the second one while we were there. We were in that shop for a year, and it was, probably about 900 square feet. But it was the back half was production. We called it the production room because it was always a mess. And there was shipping, and there was lasers, and there was wood scraps everywhere. And then the front end, we had stuff we had made, retail, that sort of thing. And then 2 big, we just took 4x8 sheets of wood and turned them into tables. And that was our studio space, essentially.
Nice.
But it was in a weird spot. And we had some not great experience with the landlord. Our AC didn't work well there. So in the summer, it wouldn't get below 94 some days.
Oh my God.
Nobody wants to come hang out and paint. for fun with your girlfriends when it's, that hot. And so we started looking for other options, and it just happened to be there was a shop that was closing in our downtown area. And I felt terrible asking them. I was like, would you share your leasing information, who you rented from? And they're like, no, we're closing on good terms. We're moving on to other stuff. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so we got linked up with our landlord here, and she's phenomenal. The building that we're in, there's 4 units, and originally the 2 middle units were our local paint store. And it was her mom and stepdad that owned that forever. And it closed, probably 2011, 2012. And so now they've rented out the units in it, but she's the one who owns it now. And so she knows all the history of the building, and she's local, and she wants to see businesses thrive. So when we came in and, explained what we wanted to do, she's like, I think that's so cool. There's going to be a paint studio where there used to be a paint store. And so she's great. And anytime we've had any questions about the building, she's phenomenal. And so now we have 2,800 square feet, and it's nice. It's wonderful. I love it. We have a space that's all production. We have a space that's all studio. We have storage closets, which we've never had before.
Nice. It's kind of like our house.
Storage is amazing. If you don't have storage, get some of that.
Yeah.
Well, our new house, I remember the thing I was most excited about was all of the closets.
Yeah.
Like
we have a lot of
there's
closets.
a hall closet, and then there's a huge closet inside our bathroom, and then
which is one of my favorite rooms of the house.
The bathroom
is our bathroom.
Yeah,
it's so
huge.
Massive.
Yeah, and then it has a closet, and then it has our walk-in closet in the bathroom. But yeah, and then we have a pantry. We didn't have a pantry at our old house, and so it took like 4 or 5 cabinets for all of our food, and it was such a pain. We had food all over the counter all the time that didn't fit in the cabinets, and so like everyone was like, "Oh, what do you love about it the most?" I'm like, the closets and the pantry,
like and rooms for
storage.
Everything.
Yeah, because we don't always put everything away, but it's much easier to.
The option is
once we get around to it. Yeah. Right.
The
option is there. That's all I need.
It is not. Too much. I did
bad.
really good about organizing those. There's a bunch of little bins, and for the most part, they're good. They could be better.
If there's a spot for something, I at least know where it goes back to. It's when there's not really a spot because you don't have the storage for it to have a spot. That's when it becomes a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. So, what kind of classes do you teach in the workshop?
So it just isn't last year, we've really expanded on that. It was primarily a lot of just laser cut projects. So that was door hangers were huge for us for a long time, and those have slowed down a little bit. We've done a lot of shelf decor and things like that. But we've been fortunate to have a lot of local makers who have really cool talents, and I love getting to share our space with them. So we have a local,
nice.
she's our local sourdough queen, for lack of a better word. She stocks like 5 stores with all of her loaves and English muffins and cookies and everything else. And so she comes in and teaches once a month a sourdough class where she brings in the dough. She tells you how to flip it and stuff. And then there are points where the dough has to rest for 20 minutes. So in that 20 minutes, we paint a sign. Actually, this kind of cream colored sign that's up behind me is one that we do for that class. And so they paint in between it, or we have a lady who does cheese making with us. And same thing, we paint kind of in between that. I've had a canvas teacher come in. What else have we had in here? We've done chunky knit blankets, just kind of everything. A lot of our stuff is paint. Like I will never not love painting things, but I try to kind of do a full round of, we're a creative studio, all kinds of different crafts and projects. And so.
Yeah. Well, and then I think it's better because then you don't have to fill that space 24/7 with the same type of classes that you enjoy doing. You can switch it up. And so that then gets the same people potentially in the door for a bunch of different things, because all of those things you just mentioned, like the sourdough, they're wearing me down with that. I don't even know that I would like sourdough, but I see everyone doing it, and now I kind of have this like weird FOMO. I'm like, maybe, probably not, but maybe.
I'm fully committed to, I am a sourdough shopper, not a sourdough, but I don't belong in the kitchen. That's like a big thing.
That's exactly why it's even more.
Knock on all the wood, my husband can cook and cook well, and he likes to cook.
Same.
Otherwise
we got lucky.
We wouldn't, and I bless that man, because he does. He'll check in. Have you eaten today? I think I may have eaten yesterday.
Right.
Okay, I'll bring you food. Okay.
It's funny because like when he's sick or when he's gone or whatever, and I have to take over, it's like, okay, what is the like super simple thing that either leftovers that we can put in the microwave, or I'm the one who's like, you know, I'm totally the husband in like, you know, going to grab like, oh, okay, he's gone, so that means I'm grabbing something on the way, or, you know, super simple. And I did it for a while when we just had one kid, and then tried when we had two, and it didn't work. It was so much. It would like trying to cook after like getting them home from school and daycare, and they're just like hyper, even as like a baby. Cause like what we had to do for the baby at the time was, you know, we'd put him in his high chair, and you had to like literally feed him snacks the whole time you're cooking to keep him okay and entertained, and like it was just
and then
try to feed him food afterwards, and you're like, well, I just cooked you food that you don't want because I just had to
gave you a whole box of Cheerios to keep you quiet.
Or graham crackers or goldfish.
Yeah.
I remember let's go grab something. Like yesterday, my husband took his dad and a buddy out fishing, and he was telling me this in the afternoon. I was like, okay, well, I'm at the shop till 3, and then I will come home and relieve you of your fatherly duties for the evening. And I was like, oh, that means I got to figure out dinner now. And he just looked at me and he started laughing. I was like, what? He's like, you know, you're going to McDonald's. I was like, okay, you're probably right, but still. And then last night while he was fishing, he's like, you know, you guys all home and stuff. I said, yeah, we're at home. He's like, so what'd you have for dinner? I was like, you already know the answer to that question. And I just sent him a picture of the side of the Happy Meal box, and he's like, yeah, I figured as much. I was like, shut up, just leave me alone.
It's Chick-fil-A over here.
Chick-fil-A or
yesterday was Sunday, otherwise it would have been.
We had Wendy's. Well, and I like Wendy's because I've been trying to eat healthier, and now Wendy's has this chicken wrap. And so I literally just get the chicken wrap. I don't get any fries. I don't get a drink. I don't get anything. I just get like the chicken wrap from Wendy's. It's a little bit better than obviously like a hamburger and fries and like whatever. And so, but it was funny because so he actually had a job this weekend, which we got to share that story. I mean, you can share it now if you want. No, we shared it in the After Dark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's only for patrons.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
But so he had a job that he worked on this weekend, helping a podcast studio like revamp their space.
Oh, cool.
But then it was like, oh shit, I got to feed these kids.
Oh, and my mom
and
was
his
gone.
mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, not his. My mother-in-law was gone.
I refer to my mom
weekend.
as my husband's mother-in-law sometimes.
I always say our mother-in-law, and he was like, your mother-in-law. I'm like, yeah, that's right. She's only my mother-in-law. She's your mother. But
unless we get a sister wife, then we can refer to her mom as
no.
She's got to be good at cooking and cleaning if I'm getting a sister wife.
Exactly.
So it's got to be like her fun times.
I'm not against that. She can be good at cooking and cleaning.
If she wants to summer in Florida and winter in Arizona, we can share too. It's fine.
Right. Oh, hey, you know, we might have to talk.
I mean, we're already going to be sharing, so yeah. What's with another couple?
Right.
Exactly. But I mean, she helps a lot, and she shares the way she shows her love is with food, and so you won't go hungry around Maria because, AKA Nino, because she'll make you something, she'll go get it, like
but she was gone.
But she was gone too, and I was like, oh crap! Like I have to parent alone this weekend. Like shit, I haven't had to do that in a long time. I've been very lucky, but yeah, it was. What are we gonna eat? and we were low on food. Like, and the last grocery trip we did,
end of the week, because end of the week,
it was a struggle. Yeah, we ran out of Uncrustables on Saturday, and I was like, ugh. And we ran out of bananas. He was like, we ran out of cheese, and that's what they live on is Uncrustables, bananas, and cheese. Pretty much.
We didn't run out of the cheese until like last night.
True, thankfully.
So
yeah,
they had.
Rations are running low. I get it.
Right?
Yeah.
We're good now.
Only does so much.
Right.
We re-upped.
We did. We re-upped. Mondays is grocery day. So let's talk about the File Club and then courses as well. Like, so if anybody is curious on those, like what, how did you get started and what kind of things did you learn along the way with those?
So File Club was along with getting a laser to even kind of be in that world of things, like File Club was what changed a lot for our family. like I said, I started off with offering just a free file library. I was like, let's see how this goes and make sure that I'm designing things. You can't complain too much about a free file,
right?
But hopefully people will tell me,
you'd be surprised. But yes,
I can, yes.
Right.
But at that point, I don't owe you anything yet.
Yeah, and that's a pretty genius way to test it, honestly. Yeah.
Just try it out and see how it goes. So we started with the free files, and once I was like, all right, I've got this and this is working, we started, an Etsy shop and that sort of thing. And then I started kind of teasing towards the idea of, what if you had a bundle of files every month that were sent to you and they were curated to go together and they had photos and, it was this whole kind of, if this was all set for you, done, what would that look like? And so I had, this was still in the height of, okay, cool. We're not drowning financially, but we're not maybe in the best place yet.
Right.
That we sat down, we looked at numbers, and my thing when I opened this club and decided, hey, I'm going to do this, I found a website to host it through and all the things. I was like, okay, my big goal is I want 72 members. And that seemed like a weird number to most people.
Nice.
But what it balanced out was it paid for my website fee every month and then an additional $1,000 income. And
That's
the
great.
goal was for that $1,000 to go straight to our mortgage and not like it'd be an extra payment.
Right.
Never wanted to be in a position where we were close to losing our house. Like that was like the scariest thing for me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, if
I've
I
been
can
there
have that,
once and I don't ever want to feel that again.
it's not great. And so I was like, if I can have that extra $1,000, I know I won't be in that position anymore. So 72 members, can I do it? And so we had started a Facebook group and, I was showing a lot of the stuff in there and, I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And so we were opening, I think we opened for 4 or 5 days. And then I was like, all right, after that, I want to close it so I can make sure I can take care of these people and, go from there. And so we opened the club and I think on the second day we hit 72. I was like, okay, so do I just close now? I did it. I'm good. I can, I can stop freaking out now. I was like, well, I'm still supposed to be open for 4 more days. And okay, all right, let's just roll with it. And so when we finally closed the club, we were exactly 300 members and I was
That's awesome.
beside myself.
We
We had never had any kind of income, much less a passive income like that. And so this kind of,
it's somewhat passive.
Yes, there's definitely still work involved. It's different than, I guess I should say, a digital income.
Yes.
That has that scalability to it. And so math is not my strong suit. So I can't even 300 times, 315 is, wow. 45. So that would have been $4,500 a month because we started off with 15 months. Yeah, somewhere around there. And so that was just, I can make this from files like regularly and it happens again next month.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And so that it was adding that stability and knowing that it was there. And of course you're going to have fluctuating months. People are going to cancel and things like that. But it was knowing that there was at least like a amount of income that I could kind of depend on that really kind of set a lot of things in motion. And at the height of our club, I think we were at 1,200 members. And then we had a really bad website crash. And that was a whole mess. Oh, it was bad. We migrated websites. And after checking 100 times, like, if I move, everything's going to be fine. All right. And the payment processor said yes. And the website said yes. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So we moved everybody. And then 2 months later, I was like, okay, well, I'll close out our old website. And when we did, it canceled every member we had.
Oh.
So that was a really scary day. And there were lots of tears. And yeah, when I realized what was happening and my husband was out front and I put it all together and it was canceling everything. Like, I think I cried so loud he thought someone died and came running into the house. And he's like, what's going on? I was like, I don't even know how to explain this to you. He is not techie. And so I was like, all I can tell you is that all of our members canceled right now. And he's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what to do right now. Just give me some time to figure it out. And we worked through it. It never quite got back to where it was. So I will say this, if you're ever thinking about starting a membership, pick your final platform first.
Right. Yeah. Because that's the scary part is if you ever need to pause something or resume it or like getting it back to where you were, as soon as you give somebody an easy out, it can be hard to get them back sometimes. And that's terrifying.
And it is. It was a scary time, but it's okay. We worked through it. But so we've had the club now for, it would have been October of 2020 is when we launched. So we're in 25. So 4.5 going on. It'll be 5 years this fall, which is crazy to think about because every month that's, I go back and I was like, oh, I forgot about these files. I haven't looked at them in 3 years. This is, this is fun. I shop my own files sometimes.
Same.
But so we have that side of things. And then as far as courses go, I've had one course out before and we had one that was, It was something I had launched because someone said, hey, you should teach people how to do this. So I was helping people on how to list files on Etsy. And they're like, why don't you package that up as a little course and stick it out there? And so that exists, but it just, I don't know. In my head, it wasn't, big potatoes for anything to be,
right.
So you click on this button and then you click on this button. And so it exists, but it's not one that I talk a lot about.
Yeah.
But last year, so Christmas of 23, yes. In our studio, we started a DIY ornament bar where people would walk up, and to be honest, it came out of a necessity. I could not paint fast enough to stock the store with ornaments. So I was like, we're just going to let them paint them themselves. And we'll package it up this way. We sold kits already, but it wasn't our primary focus yet. Now it is. But we packaged up our ornaments. We had paint and ribbon and beads and all the things that you would need to make an ornament and little instruction cards. So you came in, picked all your pieces, and then out the door. It was not the most organized thing, but it worked in a pinch, and people loved it. We had people were coming in and buying several of them at a time to have like family craft parties. And I said, this is great. I don't have to paint them either. And people are happy. I love this.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of people, I shared about it online, and there were a lot of people who were asking, okay, how and what, and how do you fill the paint pods, and where do you get the brushes from, and all the things. But I think we were in the thick of it that I was like, I can share, but I can't put all of my thoughts into a good, easy to follow setup until this year. And I said, I promise I will share next year all the things, because then I can tell you what worked and what didn't work for us at least. And so this year, over the summer, I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. I want to lay it out as a full course. I want every meat and potato I can pack into it. I want it to be if you take the course, you can turn around and do this next weekend. Other than getting your stuff prepared, you can go do this next weekend. And so I kept putting it off because I was like, do they really want that? Like, is this going to be worth it? Are they going to want? Oh, okay, I'll do it. I told people I'll do it. I'll do
are
it.
A lot of work.
And I think it's the organizing it. Like, okay, I want to make sure that I have everything in there. And oh shoot, I forgot this. Okay, let me go back and re-record
the website part and the landing page. Like when I went out and I set out to create a course, I highly underestimated what all went into it as far as like the back end stuff, the shit that people don't even see, the editing it, my audio being weird, the screen record not working, the fucking landing page and all the different links and the domains you have to buy. And like by this point, I had keychain thingies going, but like that was as far as it went. Like I used Shopify and there was like a template. And even then that took me going viral to force myself to actually make it into like a usable like website. Cause I just kept procrastinating, doing a little bit here and there and then procrastinating for a few more weeks and then doing a little bit here and there.
Yes.
So I highly underestimated how much time all of that would take. And then the marketing materials and actually getting people to buy it. And then, I mean, it was worth it. It's definitely worth it. All of them
100%.
have been worth it. But like, there was tears, lots of tears.
My biggest thing is I felt like every time I thought I had my outline written, I was like, all right, now I've got all of it. I'd sit down and I'd kind of start going through my head. Okay, this part needs to go here. And then, oh man, I forgot about this. I need to make sure I tell them about this part too. Okay, where does this fit into it? And, make it make sense.
Yep.
So that it was, a cohesive, start here, end here sort of thing. I think it's not a linear project. And depending upon what you're doing with a course, if you need to show the end result, you got to record this part, but then you got to go back and do,
and having it all like be cohesive and not too long. Cause it's like, I got to pack in all this information, but if I make this one section of the video 30, 45 minutes there, I'm going to lose them. So I had to like put them in like 15 to like 30-minute top chunks. But like if I'm designing, cause I have a silhouette course. And so if I'm designing how to create this sign in Silhouette from start to finish, like even a quick design, it's going to take like 30 minutes, but then I have to stop and explain everything I'm doing along the way. And did I forget something? Oh, I didn't mention, that you need to do this or watch for this or, oh man.
Especially when it becomes second nature in Silhouette. You're like, oh, I just clicked these 3 buttons. And then you're like, I probably could have told you what I just did.
I had to go back several times and be like, I should probably tell you how I did that.
Right. It does. It becomes second nature. I have friends who will be like, hey, how do you do this in Silhouette? And I'm like, okay, the little star button on the side, it's like on the side, halfway down, it looks like
Right.
this. You click the third button. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And half the time your process isn't like organized that
Mine's
way.
not pretty.
Right.
I'm a
So it's
very
like,
messy
but
designer.
but when you're trying to teach it in a course, it should like, follow these steps, and you're like,
Right.
oh wait, I forgot because I do this here instead
Right.
of here, but it would be
Mhm.
better to do it there if you're
So
learning.
that's actually a good side note. We'll kind of keep most of the ADHD like conversation for the paid portion, because it's going to be longer than we have for here. But like, I'm very ADHD when I'm designing stuff. Like I'm all over the place. I'll do something and then I'll do something else, and then I'll like adjust the sizing, and then I'm like, oh wait, but then I have to adjust the sizing of this, and it's like I have 20 different versions on the side, and then I have my main one here. But again, like when you're teaching someone,
right.
there was like I'm all over the
messy
place.
version.
Yeah, and I can be all over the place, but if I want to teach you, I have to somehow reel myself in so that you can actually follow along.
Right.
Yes. It's one of those like, do as I say, not as I always do, especially when I'm trying to teach you the function. I don't want you to learn the crazy.
Right.
You'll eventually get to the crazy on your own, but right now I want you to get the
right.
Yes.
What I did in my latest LED course was I kept all the crazy and the bloopers. I put them at the end of every single section so they could see like all the mess that happened afterwards.
People love that though. We love to see real. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So back to the courses though, like how, like what was that process, I guess, for you?
So once I finally got it all set up and recorded, that was somebody had asked me how long did it take you to record the video. I was like, I actually recorded the whole video in one night. And it was one of those where I was like, I have to. I had to do feet to the fire. I put out and I said, okay, next Monday I'm going to launch this, because I kept putting it off and putting it off. And so that weekend I told my husband, I was like, you're single dad in it. I got to go. And so that night, I think I got home from the shop at like 3 that morning, because I was like, no, it's going to get done tonight. I'm not going back to do anything else, because then I have to go into the editing. Right. But we got it all set up and on the site. And then it was okay, cool. I had people who were interested in being affiliates for it because it made sense for their products. And so it was, wait, how do I set that up? And so there was all the tech behind that, but we finally got everything laid out the way it was supposed to. And like I said, it had to be a feet to the fire thing. I'm launching this on Monday, and if I've told the world that it's going to be there, I got to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we did. We launched Monday, and my big goal, what would have said my course was a success, I wanted to make $2,500 in the first week. And then since it was, geared towards Christmas, I figured after Christmas, it probably, the course would die off.
Yeah.
Through the Christmas season, I think we ended up opening the course end of September, beginning of October, right in between there. By the end of the Christmas season, I wanted to hit $5,000 in course sales. Yeah. And I thought that was attainable. We could do that. Yeah. And it was the first day, and we hit the $2,500. And I was like, oh, okay.
All right.
Maybe I need a little bit bigger. And then I want to say we ended up hitting 5,000 in the first day too. And I'm texting my husband. I was like, I need a bigger goal. We learned Gwynn is not a good goal setter. I put him here because
you're not a good goal setter in the right way. Right. At least you're not like, hey, I want to make, 25K in the first day, and you, had hit 2,000 and then you're like disappointed. Yeah.
Yes. I guess I'm too conservative of a goal setter, but we put it out there, and I was like, well, okay. And then it was, okay, well, what if I push it to 10,000? And then we hit that. And then I was like, okay, what if I put like $25,000? There's no way. That's insane. And then we hit that. Yeah. And by the time we closed out books for, the end of the year or whatever, I was blown away, because I think we ended up one course sale over $40,000 in course
That's awesome.
Sales. Wow. And that was after paying affiliates. I was after the fees, because of course every, payment processor type thing has a fee associated with it. And that just like that, I mean, even in people who are, further along in their business, like that's life-changing money in the course of months.
Same with us. So we launched, it was mostly me, because he had his full-time job. He tried to help me edit, and that went terribly. We just didn't have a good process at the time. Right. But similar to your file club, I had capped it at because it was our first launch. We did a soft launch to I forget what I even called them, but they were your
we call them our founders, essentially.
Yes. Yeah, I came up with a different number for that. I think my VIPs or something like that.
To that effect,
And so I set aside, it was something like, I don't know, 20 people or something like that. And then again, we hit 20 pretty quickly. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll open this up. And then I think I ended up closing it finally because, again, like I created the course as it released, basically, which was not my plan. I had every plan to have it like 100% complete before launch day. That's just not how it happened. But it had to happen this way because I wouldn't have, if I didn't have people owing me money, I would have procrastinated for even longer. I had to do the same thing with my LED course too, because I was like, no, this one I'm going to actually do it and then release it. No, I had to pre-sell it in order to make me do it.
Yep. Put the feet to the fire. It works.
Yeah, exactly. And I ended up capping it at 50 because I was like, okay, anything more than 50, I'm going to have a freaking anxiety attack. Like, what if this doesn't work out? And like, 50 angry mob, mad at me if something doesn't go as planned. And again, like by this time, yes, I hadn't like created it, but I still 100% had like my outline. I knew what I was going to do. I knew where it was going. I had the website like ready. It was just like the filming and editing process that, I basically
had that
pieced
system
out.
Down.
Yeah. So, but again, I made 30K on my first launch and I was like, holy shit. And we were ready to have him quit, like right away. And then I'm like, wait, we got to relaunch this. We still have to keep marketing it. And then, it definitely fizzled because I overthink like any kind of sales or marketing. And I'm working on that now and getting better. Because, you quickly realize, like, if you're not actively marketing, people aren't going to know that it freaking exists.
Yes.
So.
And that's my least favorite part. Like, I think I like the strategies behind marketing. Like, I think it's cool to know how it works and to set them up, but I don't like actually doing it.
The execution, yeah.
I like, honestly, it would be kind of nice. I haven't really thought about this yet, which I kind of have, like a virtual assistant can do that. But like if I could hire someone to do all the spamming for me, like approved spamming, I think that would really help me because then it wouldn't be like me who's selling to you. It's my employee who's selling to you.
So we were talking about this. I was just with a bunch of studio owners actually in North Florida earlier this month. And we were talking about it. And I think, and it's funny because it happened to every single one of us. We would talk about what another girl does at her studio or how she set something up. And we're fired up about it. And she does this and she's awesome. And, whatever. But when it came back on ourselves, it was, we host classes. They do pretty well. I can affiliate for somebody like there's no tomorrow. I can go sell somebody else's class, course, file, whatever it is. Like my life depends on it. But when it comes back to my own, I'm like, ooh,
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I kind of do this thing. It's cool, I guess.
It's pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
Worked really hard on it.
If I could be a professional affiliate and then go hire a professional affiliate to take care of my stuff, we'd be great.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we'll continue this more. We're hitting about that 45-minute mark. Yeah. But so first I'm actually remembering to ask the question.
I had it in my mind. If you didn't get it, I would have got it.
So what is one tool, mindset, or skill that you acquired throughout your business journey that you felt made like a really big impact? Small or big?
I'll give you two. I'll give you a physical tool and one that's more mental. So physical tool is our shrink wrap machine. We don't even have a super fancy one, but we waited forever to buy the stupid thing. And we were just talking about it. My husband used to stretch wrap, like almost saran wrap style stretch wrap, all of our kits. And those things were not pretty. They didn't, they didn't look pretty on a shelf, but when we were shipping, it didn't matter. Those customers didn't care. But investing in that thing, it was, I think, $219.
They're so fun.
It took forever to give in and buy it because I'm like, do we really need it? Like, that's a lot of money. Do we really need it? And
it's actually cheaper than I thought.
It's paid for itself 100 times over. So that's my physical tool. So if you sell any kind of it doesn't even have to be kits. Anything that you're wanting to wrap up really presentably, it's wonderful.
Well, so we did one round of DIY kits during COVID, and I got the shrink wrap packages that are for shrink wrapping, and then got the little heat gun. And that was my favorite part of doing the DIY packages because it was so fun to see it shrink up. I loved that part.
Yes, it's
only
a little
when it's shrink wrap does she like when it shrinks up.
Yeah.
Shrinkage isn't good otherwise. Sorry.
As far as the other end of that goes, though, we're realizing more and more that I'm really big on taking the gamble on myself. I like I said, when I bought the Silhouette, it was, can I do this? Is this a good idea, or should I buy the tire? Nope, I'm going to buy the machine. Should I spend the $2,500 at the height of COVID to buy this machine, or should I, hold off? Nope, buy the machine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when it came to moving our shop, we were moving into a bigger building. Our rent, of course, was higher,
Right.
which meant our bills were going to be higher. But we've seen like the sales have way outnumbered where we were. And so it's scary to take that risk. But the more that I'm learning to believe in myself on that sort of thing has made a world of difference. So if I can say anything, make calculated moves, look at what you're going to do. Don't be completely crazy. But if you're questioning if you should do something and it's keeping you up at night, odds are you should. Take the gamble and put some faith in yourself and
Well,
figure it out on the way down if you have to.
Yeah, figuring it out as you go and like giving it a shot. And again, as long as like you don't want to like lose your house in the process, right? So like yes, calculated risks, but at the same time, like taking that risk, even if it fails, you will still learn things. So kind of like if the quote failure and you doing the that market the workshop and stuff that you did previously and then you had to close because it wasn't the right time, you still learned things in that process that I'm sure you've used since then that you can use later in life. So even if it's not that right time or the right place or the right location, like taking that jump can still be beneficial to you and your business. Yeah.
There was a comedian that had a bit that I've saved forever, and it was he had a conversation with his mom, and his mom was like, I'm dying of cancer and this and that. It's really sad, but she's like, should I go out and do this tour, or should I keep a regular job? And his mom said, go out and do it. Like, this is what you're dreaming of. This is what you want to do. And he's like, well, what if I lose the house? Or what if I lose this? And he's like, it's money. You can make more of it later on. You don't know that that's going to not be the avenue for you anyway. But worst case scenario, if it doesn't, there's other ways to come back from any kind of pitfall. So
well, and then you'll never know the what if either. When him and I were long distance, the thing for 2 years, we got to the point where like it was like we have to. Well, at this point, we weren't 2 years in when we made that decision, but we were trying to like think of like, okay, like who should move? Which one of us should move? Should we move? Like whatever, and. I was ready to move if he wasn't ready to move because I needed to eliminate that what if. It was always going to be what if in the back of my mind if, one of us didn't take that jump. And then he broke up with me. But then, then I got you back.
It was only like 6 months.
It was only a few months.
6 months in. She was ready to risk it all at 6 months.
I was though, because
I was like, this, I'm not moving. So I don't think this is going to work.
On our second date, my husband asked me what kind of wedding I wanted. And at first I was like, whoa, pump the brakes, dude, and back up. It worked though. So whatever.
Yeah. The first conversation we had, we talked for like 3 hours and we did talk about wedding shit.
Again, to be fair, when I broke up with her, I didn't know she was planning to move. I just knew I wasn't willing to move. And I didn't think she was, or it wouldn't be fair for me to assume that she would move. If
I won't do it, then why would I assume that or expect that out of you?
So I was like, well, we've already wasted 6 months.
And I don't think going back to it, had I moved then, it wasn't a good decision at that time because I would have given up I would have been giving up my career. I would have given up my degree that I had already gone to school for like 6 years or something by that point, 6 or 7 years. I would have had to sell my condo. Like it would have been a lot. So
it was not the right time.
Yeah, no. I don't think I would have been. I was in the right spot.
You were not in the right spot. No.
To like host you and support and have you move in and this and that.
Exactly.
Right.
I probably wouldn't have been a good decision.
But there's good timing for things.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So let's also tell them you gave everybody the everyone code is for 30% off.
Whoa. You sure you're reading that right?
Yeah.
30 for everybody?
30. Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets 30?
Everybody. So you can only imagine what them patrons get.
Y'all better jump on.
Right? So the code, I'm definitely going to have to post this one. But it's not too bad. RBPP Seat. Okay, hold on. RB PPC 2025-30. So I'll post it in the group. I've been better about posting the like
Codes.
monthly codes and stuff like that. I need to catch up on January. But that code, and she did no expiration date, right? Yeah, no expiration
it's there.
date.
If you
So
end up watching this in 2020, whenever, there you
Right.
go.
Much like keychain things, it's not going to go bad.
right, exactly.
I love it.
And then we'll save the bigger one for the patron portion. But
yes.
Yeah.
Which this is it for you if you're general admission.
hold on, you have to tell them where to find. You have to ask.
Oh
them.
yes. Sorry. Before we cut it out, where
I guess
do
if you guys
they
still want to hang out with me after this.
where
Right.
do
Of
they
course.
take advantage of their 30%, soon to be the other one, because they're all going to join Patreon.
Yeah.
Of course.
So-
Exactly. They're going to get more when they join the club. But
We're trying to get to 200 by the end of the year. By the way,
ooh,
200 patrons. We have 70 right
doable.
now.
71.
that's doable.
We do.
71.
Nice.
So where do they
So
find it?
Yeah,
you
sorry.
use that club on Etsy, and that's one thing I've never updated is my Etsy name. So it is still under Girl with a Glowforge. So it's girlwithaglowforge.etsy.com. I don't know. I got stuck in with that name. That's what I started with. And then when I realized that it was becoming a business, I was like, I probably shouldn't have that in my
Right.
business's name. Especially as I was moving away from just having a Glowforge. And so that's when it really kind of rebranded as all Create with Gwynn and that sort of thing. So yes, if you look up girlwithaglowforge.etsy.com, you'll find where you can use that code and get some fun files.
All
Yeah.
right.
But if you do want to
Technically,
hang out with just
still-
Gwen, it's going to be Create with Gwen and Jonathan. So my husband does occasionally put some stuff out there, but it's like
Nice.
Create with Gwen and Jonathan. I lied. No, it's not. It's Getting Creative with Gwen and Jonathan.
Oh.
I lied. I was wrong too.
Well, and like you said, you were about to say, right, that she still has the
she still has-
Glowforge.
yeah, you're still a girl
So-
with a Glowforge.
I
it's
do.
still
I am still
accurate.
technically the girl with a Glowforge, just not
Yeah.
one that uses
Yeah.
said
Right.
Glowforge.
That's not that part. Using it is not in the title.
No.
It's just
Like
with
a girl
the
using a
Glowforge.
Glowforge.
Right.
So from now on, you just have it in the background.
Yeah.
You're still a girl with a Glowforge.
Yeah.
You just don't use it. That's all.
Cool.
Well, we'll catch everybody else on Patreon because you're gonna join. I mean,
Yes.
the lowest tier is $6 a month.
Yeah.
Come on, help us get to 200 by the end of
Right?
2025.
Come on. We got
You can
this.
do it. You know what? Our goal is 200. You're gonna bump us up to 1,000. I know it. I know it.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're gonna.
All right.
we're
That's
gonna-
a Gwen type goal.
That's
that's-
like
that's-
our goal, but then
you know?
really we hit them up here, so it makes
Exactly.
sense.
Right?
We're aiming for 200, but I know our listeners. They're like, you know what? This is a great podcast. I'm gonna join their Patreon. Before we know, it, we're gonna be at 1,000.
Right. Yes.
And then we'll cap it. And then we'll cap it because we're good at 1,000.
Yeah.
No, we're
Unless
not.
one drops off, then we'll open it for one more spot.
And you open that one spot. It's where waitlist
Yeah,
come
but
into
that
play.
one spot you have to join at the $25, no matter what the person left,
Top
because there's
tier.
only one spot left, so you have to go for the high tier. Hey, you get a free T-shirt.
You do.
You get a free T-shirt after your
That's
second month.
awesome.
Is it free? I don't know, but we say it's a free T-shirt.
Kind of. Not
Or
really.
you can buy a T-shirt
Right.
for $25.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll take your $25, whether it's monthly or once.
All
That's
right.
it. Well, life updates coming up for our general admission, and we're back with the life update.
What's up, y'all?
What's going on? So we didn't really get to talk about it.
Yeah.
We talked about it in After Dark, but we didn't talk about it during the show.
Yeah.
We were in the show. We were talking about working for yourselves and having more time for
Yeah.
family. And this past weekend, I had a job helping a local podcast /
Media
marketing
company, yeah.
agency kind of redo their layout, remodel in a sense. I saw their stuff on. As soon as we moved here,
Yeah.
like I was like, oh, who has a podcast or whatever.
Right.
It was not the best studio,
Yeah.
but they just inherited it. So
Right.
anyway, for full remodel,
First of all,
you'll see the before
The
after
bravery you had to reach out to someone and professionally tell them there are some things that you can do better. Let me
Right.
help you.
Right,
Like my anxiety could never.
right.
Like when you told me if you would have asked me first, I would have been
Oh,
like,
that's why I didn't
"Ooh,
ask
I don't
you.
know.
That's why I didn't ask you, because you would have told me no. They're gonna take it wrong
Oh,
and this and that, and instead,
Right.
we got some money in our pocket.
this is true.
But I was respectful. I didn't know their
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
So there, I think I planted the seed there
Yeah.
by showing her our setup.
Mm-hmm.
And then I followed that up with an email saying, a few things. I noticed a few things could be, and then also here's another reason why it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
For me to send her that email because of you guys. Because our numbers are way we got
True.
more eyeballs, we got more.
That's true.
So I'm not like punching. I'm like, hey, let me
Right.
help you. This is my experience.
Right.
I've been doing this, and I mean, I think they've been doing it for like a little bit longer, if not the same.
But not podcast.
But they come. No. So they've owned the studio for about 3 years, I think.
Oh, okay.
But they come from a radio background,
Right.
and I come from a TV background.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of podcast listening.
Right. And
watching.
Yeah.
So I have a different
expert.
Yes, I have a different like eyeballs on it.
Yeah.
So I came on, I'm like, hey, listen, there are a few tweaks that we can do. This and that. I would love to talk to you guys if you're open to it.
Yeah.
And luckily they were, and they didn't take offense to it.
Right.
And that was one of the things I told them. I'm like, hey, thank you for not, taking it the wrong way.
Right.
Because I really I love podcasting. I'm in the space, and I feel like I can help you guys grow a little bit here.
And it really just was a bunch of like minor tweaks.
Right.
That
And
they
I was like,
to...
I understand, budgets are budgets. They have a company.
Yeah.
And I'm proposing a remodel. They're not coming to me.
I turned my do not
So,
disturb off,
and it's going crazy.
And I'm like trying to like concentrate.
Right. So anyway, I say all that to say that I'm telling JR on Saturday because my mom was going to Miami, and that was I had already started the remodel twice,
right.
And I was hoping to knock it out by Saturday, so I'd be home Sunday.
Yeah.
But I was telling him at night, like, hey, listen, I need you to be extra good tomorrow.
Yeah.
For mommy.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? And I told him,
Nino's going by myself.
Nino's going out of town, and I have
like old times.
Right.
Oh.
And I'm going to work because I have a job.
Yeah.
In my mind, I replaced gig with job. Meaning like, like temporary, like
right.
just, I got a
like,
job.
I got
this
a job, and
he took it as I got a 9 to 5, and I'm not gonna be home anymore. And he was like, "No, I don't want you to have a job." And I told him, no, it's just this weekend. Like, it's nothing. It's not like a job.
Right.
Is what I said.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, so it's not like the other house."
Listen, we all have triggers from the other house.
He's like, so it's not like when we lived at the other house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, buddy, it's not like we lived at the other house.
Oh.
So and then I came out of the room, and then it was mommy's turn. And I told him, like, I got something to tell you when you come back. She comes back, and I'm like, this has to work.
Right.
Like, whether it's Riley Black Media has to like take off
something.
The podcast, which is we're hoping is a podcast. So hopefully you can help us. But
we need you.
Or all combined.
Yeah.
Like, this has to work because clearly I can't go back to work.
Well,
I can't go back to a 9 to 5.
And I told you, we've considered you going back to work a couple times because
temporary,
like,
and even that's just
temporary.
It's temporary,
right? But even temporary, I'm like, oh, okay, but then like I have to stop earlier because now I need to pick up this, or like, okay, now we need to plan ahead for dinners and like all the things that you do that because you're a very hands-on dad. And these kids are
take all
a lot during like the second they come home, I can't really even get work done in here because then I feel guilty because you're trying to cook while they're going crazy, and then so I end up coming out there soon after most days, but just like I had selfishly thought of all of the things that it would affect me with.
Same.
How would it change for what I had to do?
Same.
And what would that mean for me and our business?
Right. And for me, it's like even though I know it's like a temporary job, it's going to be temporary because it's not going to be. I can't work in my field here. I can't like fall back on news. Yeah, which was one thing we were like kind of
happy,
we had
not. Yeah,
we had mixed feelings about it. We didn't know how to feel because like, okay, well, we're moving to a place where both markets are an hour and a half away.
Right.
Driving. So it doesn't matter if I work in Orlando or West Palm Beach.
Right.
They're both an hour and a half away from us. And that's not like...
And that means you're away for 3 hours. And that's not even paid 3 hours. That's just
commute.
travel. Yeah.
That's commute.
So
that's a lot. So it would be like a part-time doing whatever,
right,
which I'm not opposed to
but it's hard. I mean, your mom has
period.
even struggled to find a part-time job around here,
right. Well,
because
she's also not willing, like she doesn't want to drive far.
Yes, but still, I mean, at the same time, drive far is 30 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
And 30 minutes still adds up when you're doing that every single day, and that kind of stuff. And so it's just like, oh, okay, like, I don't know how much he remembers, but I know he remembers, like, he wanted you home every day for dinner, and like the days that you would come home for dinner were the best days.
That was another thing he asked
me. But then
when
turning around and leaving, after dinner was always super difficult. Sometimes you were like, I don't know if I should even come home, and I'm like, you should, but yes, we do need to.
Well, because I didn't know if it made it easier on you or harder, because. I mean that's why I asked you during that time, because I'm like,
it was hard regardless. Should I come home? For me, it was nice because for like an hour, I didn't have to be the one who responded to every scream, cry, and bicker between the two of them. Right. And so for an hour, I got like a half break. It wasn't a full break. I couldn't really relax, because the times I would really relax, then it was time for you to go, and it was like, fuck, here I go. Okay, I'm back on my own. So it's just like, I didn't realize that he probably has a lot of trauma from that as well. And again, like he, it's not like he went through so much, but it's just, I'm sure the house had a feeling. Right.
I
was stressed as fuck.
There was definitely like a tension in that house.
Yeah, and I didn't like. It was harder for me to deal with when he had those outbursts, and he didn't have two of us to kind of like ping pong when it was too much for one of us. And you know what I mean? We didn't have the tag team that we have now, because like some days, most days, you're usually a little bit more calmer than I am, but there's some days where you have had it, and I have to be the calm one to like jump in. And even the other day, when he drew on his damn pants, and I like kind of blew up accidentally, because I was just so upset with him because he keeps ruining his clothes. And then, I saw like the literal joy come out of his body, and how like he was super hard. And then like he was super sad, and you came home and you were about to like, because again, you were upset too that he did it, and you were kind of about to do the same thing. I was like, let's let him like a little easy, because I went a little hard on him. So like he's gotten the tough love. Let's now try and talk to him.
And I mean, even the feel. I feel like just between us, and not in relationships. Wow, it's just like ambient feel is a lot more calmer here.
There was
the neighborhood is calmer. It was just
surviving.
Right, the neighborhood is calmer. Like we don't
in many ways.
It's just and then the house, like it's just there's just a sense of calm.
He couldn't really ever play outside.
That wasn't over there.
Like
so,
I going to the park and stuff. Even then, that was like kind of like somewhat uneasy, and
so working
all of it.
My working outside the home. I think for him, he equates to that feeling from the other house, I knew he didn't want me to like go to work, to have me home, but I didn't equate it until he said like, is it like the other? So it's not like the other house. So I'm like, oh wait a minute. So I think he equates
That's
me
when you
working
was when we sold
when we
the other
came
house.
here.
So
it's like, when Daddy works and he has a job, it's chaos. When he's home and he's in the garage, where everyone's calm. So
calmer.
So when I said let's get a job, I got a job, it's like, oh no, here we go again. So
but I mean that's the reminder that we needed for to give us that extra oomph and motivation on the days where it might be a little bit tough, because I say it all the time, like where we're rich is not necessarily in money yet.
Well, I was gonna that's what I was gonna say. It's like we're here thinking of how can we make more money to pay bills and like and so that
the
we
fun
don't
money
have
and
to
all that other stuff
me not getting a job is surrounded around like surviving and making it, not thinking what that does emotionally, not just for us but for them, because clearly, I mean, we obviously know they're not gonna like it, they're not gonna be happy, but this just made it like at another level,
which Yeah. So it's got to work. So give us some of your money. I'm just kidding. $6. That's just it. But yeah, no, seriously, it was it was a good reminder for both of us, and that, you know, it'll give us the push we need to make this work in the way that we want it to work. Like, I already know he knows that we're leaving this week, and he's already like struggling with it and all of that. And so, you know, even when we go on the road, it needs to be like, we have to plan those and choose them like
and
wisely,
try not to make them as close.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it does affect him, but thankfully, you know, he actually wants to hang out with us, and that may not always be the case.
Right.
So, yeah. He's a sweetheart. He's our sensitive guy. Jackson, he'll miss us a little bit, but like, he'll forget.
He's also
5
a little
seconds
younger.
later. Yeah, exactly.
He's also a little younger, and I mean, he'll show it like he's doing it in other ways, and like,
I mean, he doesn't sleep as
and,
well when we're gone, and he's calling out for both of us, you know, sometimes, and that's tough. And I think it will get easier as they get older.
And as they get older, they can come with us.
Right. True. Yeah. So, I mean, for most of it, because then
obviously school scheduling,
too.
but we can also try to schedule around school for certain things.
Yeah, but the conferences we don't get to schedule.
I said certain things, not everything.
I know.
It's easier. It's easier to miss out on one when you were on one, you know, a few weeks ago or something like that.
True.
So.
Yeah. So that's what's going on here.
Yep. We gotta pack.
But we gotta go. I gotta
pack all these things up.
We have a lot of APA and Sacramento meetup stuff that we gotta prep for. And, you know, this has probably already been about 2 hours or so just under. But
if you're on Patreon and you're going to APA and you have merch, wear your merch.
Yes,
bring
please
it
do.
with you.
Represent.
Yeah. Bring it with you. It'd be cool
and I mean,
to see.
you know, if you're gonna wear it anywhere, wear it to.
I'm sorry, my general admission people. This isn't just Patreon.
Right?
We just finished Patreon, so I'm still like in Patreon mode.
Yeah.
This is Life Update. It goes to everyone.
Yes.
So if you're going to APA and you have merch,
wear it.
Yes, wear it, especially on, what is it, Thursday we're doing the show?
Yes, Thursday we're doing the show, so find us in the Learning Lounge.
If you have time to come out and watch the
wait,
recording.
you're saying all this and none of them are going to hear it.
Oh, yeah, that's why I was in Patreon mode.
Yeah.
Never mind. Sorry.
So, you know, hopefully they already
Back
thought
to
about
Patreon.
that.
So if you're a Patreon member and you have merch.
And you're listening this Friday because it's next week. We had to add that FOMO, so those general admissions.
Sorry, general admission. I tried. I tried to do it, yes. The timing
anyway,
is still new.
We love you guys,
yes.
free or paid. We're gonna try and do some more giveaways that also go to our free patrons. So if you haven't already, you can go to Patreon and sign up for free.
Right.
Obviously, you don't get a ton of perks.
You don't get any perks. You just get a preview.
you will, but you do get previews.
Yeah.
You can also join on a trial for a week. That's new.
Okay.
I need to put a little graphic in the groups about that because that's new. So you can trial it for a week, see if it's for you, and then if it's not for you, you can cancel at the end of the week. But sign up for free on Patreon because you will get some extra perks, and we'll try to do some giveaways and stuff this year that the free members will be entered in. They won't be entered in for every single one, but we'll try and add some in that you guys can benefit from. Yeah. So.
And if you see the new shirts and you like them, don't worry.
We like them.
Another pre-order is coming out soon.
Yes.
Yeah. If you didn't jump on the pre-order last time, but now that you see them on the show while we're wearing them, you're like, oh, you know what? Those shirts do look nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. We'll have another pre-order soon.
All right.
Well,
so the next shows will be on the road.
That's right.
We'll be doing one.
No matter if you're watching General Admission or on Patreon, we'll be on the road.
We'll be doing one at
Sacramento.
In Sacramento.
With
and
Will.
Then we'll be doing the other one in Vegas. So it'll be 3 shows before we're back in the studio.
Yeah, and we still don't know how we're going to release those shows.
No. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, though.
Yeah.
But it's been another great episode of the Rally Back Project. Crystal and John.
Bye.
Maybe we're all done.